Call this regular city council meeting to order. Invocation by Pastor Zach Crowley, Taylorville Christian Church.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for your love for each one of us, for the community that you give to us. We ask you to be with those who are gathered in this room, that they would make decisions that are best for our community, as they always do. We ask a special blessing over the 3 officers who will take the oath of office tonight. We ask that you would provide them with safety, encouragement, and support all throughout their careers. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Zach. Zach just got back from his bachelor party. So
That's right.
Good luck is up in there.
Thanks.
Roll call.
Megan Bryant. Here. Larry Bennett.
Here.
John Boyle.
Here.
Bernie
Here.
Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll. Here. Leland Dottie.
Here.
Jim Oliver.
Here.
Crystal Betty.
Here. All aldermen are present. Oath of office. Chief Wheeler here.
Yes.
All the officers in, please.
Sorry. Okay. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer according to the best of your ability? Congratulations. Welcome. Motion to approve the omnibus resolution.
Well, yeah.
Motion by Alderman Strong. Second by Alderman Olive. Roll call.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
John Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll. Yes. Leland Dottie.
Yes.
Jim
Yeah.
Oliver. Crystal Betty.
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Minutes of the regular meeting held August 17th, 2020. Minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held August 20th, 2020. Minutes of the Ordinance Committee meeting held August 20th, 2020. Minutes of Public Facilities Committee meeting held August 27th, 2020. Minutes of the Street and Sewer Committee meeting held August 27th, 2020. Minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting held September 3rd, 2020. Minutes of the Emergency Services Committee meeting held September 3rd, 2020. Motion to approve all the minutes. Motion by Alderman Bertle.
Second.
Second by Alderman Driscoll. Roll call.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
John Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie
Yes.
Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Leland Dottie.
Yes.
Jim Oliver.
Yes.
Crystal Betty.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Planning Commission recommendations. Mr. Hauser?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and members of the Board of Aldermen, the Planning and Zoning Commission met right before you earlier this evening, and the purpose of the meeting was to review and the final plat of Atterbury Estates, second edition. We found that everything was in order. There was a recommendation by the city engineer to recommend approval to you of the revised plat that came through. All members that were here voted to recommend that approval to the Board of Aldermen.
Thank you.
That was the only item that came before us this evening.
Need a motion to recommend the Planning Commission's recommendation? Motion by Alderman Bertle, second by Alderman Olive. Roll call.
It was to approve the claim.
To approve, yes.
That's what I said. That's what I thought. I can't hear with this thing.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yeah.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. An ordinance pertaining to the local cure program.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Alderman Dorchenez, second. Alderman Bud, questions or comments?
Can somebody tell me what it is?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a program through the federal government, maybe Mr. Aderman knows a little bit more about it. Is this the same as the CARES Act?
Yeah, it's the reimbursement for COVID costs, basically, so. just so you know.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Roll call?
Ernie Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yeah.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. An ordinance granting Rural Electric Convenience Cooperative Company and franchise concerning to construct, maintain, and operate a system for the transmission, distribution, and sale of electric energy for lighting, heating, and power purposes in the city. Motion to approve. Motion by Alderman Bud, second. Alderman Bertle. Questions or comments? This is an agreement that Rocky came up with through
Right.
Rural Electric.
It mirrors essentially what we have with Ameren is a 10-year agreement, retroactive to February 3rd, 2018, $5,000 per year franchise fee. And I understand they pay the 18, 19, and 20, is that correct, Madam Clerk?
That is correct.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call?
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yeah.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. An ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a second amendment to the business district agreement by and between the city of Taylorville and Robert and Rebecca Steiner. Motion by Alderman Bud,
Second.
second by Alderman Bryan. This pertains to the work that they've done at the antique shop, and they had a deadline of July 1st. We extended it to September 1st. All the work is completed. We finally turned in the receipts. We already approved it up to July, so we have to get a new agreement, so. Roll call.
I'm sorry, I thought Larry was saying that.
Name's Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Roll call.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes, motion carries 9-0. Motion to pay Antler Excavating Company Incorporated an amount of $117,301.50 for work performed on the Valentine's Edition Ward 3 Storm Sewer Project. Contractor's pay request number 2. This condition upon receipt of signed mechanics lien waivers in this amount and recommended by the project engineer that the work has been satisfactorily performed.
Make that motion.
Motion?
Second.
Alderman Driscoll, second. Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments?
Ward.
Questions or comments? I assume you've got the mechanics with
Yes,
labor?
we do.
And also the engineer signed off on it?
Yes, we do.
All right. Roll call.
Jim Olive,
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion to lay off the school crossing guards for the reason of lack of work pursuant to section 1301 of the current agreement between the city of Taylorville and AFSCME. Motion, Alderman Bud, second. Alderman Driscoll, questions or comments? Roll call.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion to allow Benton and Associates to bid the RP Lumber Sewer Extension Project with a projected start date of November 2nd, 2020, to be paid with Business Development District funds at an approximate cost of $97,570. Motion,
Make that motion.
Alderman Olive, second. Alderman Bud, questions or comments?
Comment would be, we're still waiting for the easement.
We're still waiting for the easement agreement. I talked with the Burnett people the other day. They said it was in the hands of their lawyer. They didn't have anything to really request other than what we've given them already. And so we hope we'll get that this week, and then that will let us put it out for bid. And they had
And the RP
requested
lumber
the start
easement.
date. We put it back till after they got the crops out, so that's why we're going with the November second date. We think that will give them plenty of time to get the crops out. And so we're just waiting on that agreement.
And you're waiting on the RP lumber agreement to be executed as well.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
You're on top of that.
Roll call.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion to allow the mayor to sign Benton Associates Work Order Number 7, Lakeview Road Drainage Swell Improvements at a cost not to exceed $2,600 to be paid by Ward 4 funds. Motion by Alderman Bertle, second by Alderman Driscoll. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion related to the September 8th, 2020 Finance Committee meeting.
You get the new one?
Do you have to do motion? Why don't you make the motion, Mr. Bud?
I'll make the motion to,
Okay. That we agree,
to agree to the,
To adopt the resolution regarding the 2020 intergovernmental cooperation agreement with the city of Pana concerning the bike trail project and section 3 thereof, inserting motor fuel tax funds as a source of payment.
that's Mr. Bud's motion, second by Alderman Bryant. Questions or
Thank you, Mr.
comments? Roll call.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie
Yes.
Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
yes.
And that's the resolution that we have here, the government, we need to pass that also.
Yes.
Okay, we need to pass a resolution that approves the intergovernmental cooperation agreement with the city of Pana
Second.
concerning the bike trail.
As
Motion
previously
by-
stated.
Pardon?
As just stated.
Okay, as you just stated.
Yes.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Bryant, roll call.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim
Yes.
Olive. Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Motion carries 8-0. City attorney update.
4 quick matters. Thanks should go to the mayor. There was, he's collected, and I assume, I understand, the $10,000 bill that we had out there with Steak and Shake. It has been paid through the mayor's efforts, and appreciate that. So probably at the next city council meeting, we'll put legal documents before you so that road can be officially dedicated to the city to allow them own it, since that payment's been made. Secondly, I think the mayor has been contacted by CTI Tech to explore a possibility of putting a TV antenna, communications antenna on top of one of your water towers. I think the mayor is working on that, and that may come to a committee for some consideration. You got your finance committee, on September 10th. We've been approached by the Summer family, who owns about 2 to 4 acres out here by the airport. They're interested in having the city acquire that property free of charge. They want to donate to the city. So I think it's on the committee on meeting of September 10th for discussion. And then finally, we've gotten a long-winded Chapter 11 bankruptcy paperwork, which relates to our local Wendy's and Pizza Hut, but it does and it doesn't. This is nationwide Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which means that you're prohibited from shutting off any supply to those 2 businesses if the bills are not paid. But you receive letter from both these local companies saying they're going to keep the bills up to date and paid, so it shouldn't be a problem for you.
You say Wendy's and Pizza Hut?
And Pizza Hut.
That's the first I heard about Wendy's.
Yeah, and I read that in the Chapter 11 document, so apparently the same company owns both of them.
Oh, they don't.
That doesn't mean they're gonna close.
No. In fact, you had a letter saying that they're gonna keep it paid, but nationwide, they had to put up over $1 million some into a special fund, so that if delinquent payments are made, you can't shut them off. You have to go through a process to go tap that fund. But you got a letter from your local 2 businesses that says don't worry about it, so. Any questions? That's it.
According to Facebook, Pizza Hut did close today.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
They did close today.
Wow.
That's Facebook.
So the family video.
That's gotta be the gospel, because they never know.
Okay, the mayor update, real short tonight. Just want to invite everyone to our first responder. We're gonna have dinner for all first responders, also aldermen, city officials. Skip DPAP has volunteered to cook for all the first responders at the corner of Webster and Market from 4 until 6 on September 11th. The media is also like to come, they're more than welcome, and we'll go from there. I've been a little bit busy this weekend looking at trying to find out the owner of 1400 West Main. We went to Ashmore this weekend trying to find out the owner of that property. It's sat abandoned for about 9 years, so we're working on that. We're doing well tearing down the building at 404 East Park. We just about got that done. We're going to tear down a garage on the 800 block of West Main, hopefully next week. We also got we're going to tear a house down on Walnut Street in the next few weeks. And then we also have the house on Melrose Lane that the Burnett property people own. We're going to tear that house down. So we're doing well with our cleanup committee, and we're doing well there. Other than that, that's all I have. Discussion, committee reports. Discussion and/or motion to approve, adopt, and/or deny, and/or table, and/or amend, and/or refer to an appropriate committee in whole or in part the matters regarding the following subject matters discussed at the committee level. Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Budde.
First motion was to recommend the city council approve the contribution of $8,000 for the 35th annual chili fest payable from the hotel motel tax fund. I guess I should make a motion first before we go into discussion, or can we discuss it ahead of time?
You can discuss it now if you would make a motion.
I'll make the motion then.
Motion by Alderman Budde, second. Alderman Bryant, comments or discussion? Question?
There's been a lot of questions being asked of us blocking off the streets and being a participant of this when the 50-person guideline is out there. And if we do the $8,000, it looks like we're promoting this event. I know the mayor was on a conference call this morning with, I don't know how many people, but part of them was the Christian County Public Health Department. And personally, if it's to be canceled, I think it should be the health department, since they're the ones that enforce the rules, whether it should be canceled. The only problem I've got with it is we all know that there is no way we're gonna be able to confirm to the 50 person with that event. It's just tough to do. So the question is, do we still want to give the 8,000 for the Chili Fest and hope that nobody gets the COVID, or that we get slammed hard for it? Either way we do it, it's going to be a double-edged sword. If we do it, something happens, we're going to get slammed on it. If we don't do it, we're going to get slammed of saying, why did you cancel it? But it wouldn't be us totally to cancel it. It should be the public health department.
Alderman Bryant?
I sat in on a phone call with the Christian County Health Department, I forget the gentleman's name, and Patty Hornbuckle regarding this. And she went through all the steps that they are taking to kind of minimize the gatherings. A lot of their large events that would cause a lot of gathering, they've postponed those. The chili cook-off, they've done things like that. The hospital is running the kids zone so that they have all the necessary precautions and everything set out the way they feel comfortable for the children to do things. The Christian County Health Board, they were very satisfied with how Patty has it set up, with the hand washing stations at all four corners, mask provided, everything that they're doing to do it. So my personal opinion is that it's everybody's personal opinion. If you choose not to come because you don't want to put yourself in that, in that situation, that I think that absolutely. And they've also done things, they've also are going to live stream all the pageants and everything for anybody, grandparents, parents, whoever doesn't wish, that doesn't want to come, that they can still watch it online. So, I'm gonna vote yes. I feel the same way. I think if the health department didn't feel like it was a good idea, they would have put a stop to it weeks ago. So that's my opinion. Is I feel like Patty's done a good job in trying to accommodate. The health department's good with it.
I agree, and how I got involved in it, a couple aldermen got phone calls last week about us promoting this or whatever, blocking the streets off or paying money. And so I called Greg Nemo, the head of the emergency management team, and him and I and Greg Siders all talked on Friday. And Greg Siders is who you talked to with Patty.
Okay.
And from all I heard, it was a very good relationship, very good. So I had Greg Nemo set up a conference call with the county because they're involved with it, with the courthouse lawn. Havera was on the phone call, Chief Wheeler, Matt Aderman, Scott Woods from the sheriff's office. I think the sheriff was at a doctor's appointment. And so, we started off with, and I started off that I was in favor of this, but I wanted to make sure that everyone was on board. And Greg Siders made the comment, and he read from a sheet that's saying that all activities where there was more than 50 people were strictly prohibited. And from what I heard, he never did mention that, but Havera was going to look into it this afternoon with the appellate court judge to see how, and my only ask is, I'll do whatever the health board wants to do. I will enforce them if they want to cease and desist. And my request is, if the health board is against having it or doesn't want to have it, all they have to do is not issue the food permits for all the vendors, and that would put a stop to it. Well, Greg Siders refused to do that, and so I just like looking for clarity from either the board, what they want to do, or what. I don't think it's my decision to make either to tell them to have it or tell them not to have it.
It's not.
And our decision could be changed if the county board votes not to allow the vendors on the courthouse lawn. That will be next week before they vote on that. I know I talked with Patty for an hour today. She's pretty adamant on having it, but again, if the health board would tell her she couldn't have it, she would have to do what the health board requests, and I think that's what everyone's thinking. But
Well, this is just for the 8,000 to pay them, correct? I mean, didn't we decide that if For some reason, it did get called off the 8,000, which is goes towards next year's Chili Fest.
Well, I think right, it says now is we're gonna give them $8,000, so I'm asking Rocky, do we need something in the amendment or in the motion that if they do not have it due to CDC guidelines, that we won't pay them the $8,000? And it's the same way with blocking the streets, which the, you know, we'll talk about that in the street and sewer. And so, I don't know.
We can do a couple of things. You can simply just table the motion this evening until you hear what the county's gonna do. Okay, so they're the ones that have the really jurisdiction over the situation, the county board, the county health board. Or you have the motion that has some contingencies in it, that the money will be paid, the contribution will be paid, provided they are in full compliance with all CDC guidelines and requirements, and that they provide proof of that to the city before that event is held. But it sounds like if what you just said was actually read, that it is illegal to have it. So that does put the city in somewhat of a bind if you're.
Well, and that was the question that Havera asked, what's the city's liability issue with that?
Right.
If we go
You're
ahead.
condoning a violation of the law if you make the contribution.
Can't-
If in fact it is against law. And I'm just going by what someone told you on the county, that's what the rule was, that you cannot have anything that's anticipated over 50-person gathering is prohibited.
Well, it shouldn't make it this far down the food chain. If it's truly against the law, and the county, the health department has the authority to shut those events down, they need to step up to the plate and shut it down. If they don't do that, as far as I'm concerned, they're condoning the event. Either you do your job or you don't, you know. This thing's kind of a political football, depending on what side of the fence you're
There is
on.
politics
Everybody's
involved.
got to pitch it back and forth, and they're kind of enforcing the law based on their personal feelings. I don't give a shit about their personal feelings. If the law says shut it down, there's over 50, shut it down. If they don't want to do that, I say give the $8,000 to them. If they don't use it this year, like Megan said, give it to them next year.
Yeah, can our motion just be $8,000 contingent on the event happening? If not, all monies will be applied to next year's event?
You could do that.
Make it that simple?
Yeah.
You know, because it's not our place to say they're breaking guidelines or wanting proof of it either, I don't think. I mean, I say we give them the money if they don't have the event, it's just like the fireworks. We gave them the money, they didn't have it, it goes to next year.
But you could do that, but let's be realistic. If the $8,000 is gonna decide for them whether they're gonna financially have it or not have it, and if you go in, and you know that going in, some lawyer is going to bring that to your
Well,
attention.
we don't know that.
I don't know, I'm just asking.
No,
a
I was good,
question.
well, yeah, but we don't know that. We just know this is what we've given them for years. You know how we've always done it, so.
Could we amend it so that instead of saying to contribute the $8,000 for the Chili Fest, can we just say we're contributing $8,000 to the Chamber of Commerce? Just use as they see fit.
Given what you just said on film, that probably won't make any difference.
Okay, that was before the meeting call.
I just gave
That
it
would've
a
been a better
break.
motion before we talked
Well,
about
I
it,
mean,
yes.
so that's, I mean, regardless of saying it now, I mean, that is a true fact, but if you give it to them and they choose how to use it.
I think we give it to them. If they use it this year, they use it this year. If they use it next year, they use it next year.
Any other discussion or questions? Alderman George, yes?
I like, one of the suggestions that the city attorney suggested was to table, just table it. And if it happens, then we do it.
So are you making a motion on table it?
I'll make a motion to table.
Motion to tables on the, do I have a second to table it? Alderman Luzzati seconds the table. Roll call?
Kathy Driscoll?
No.
Lee Landzadi?
No.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy?
No.
Megan Bryant?
No.
Larry Bud?
No.
Sean Bertle?
No.
Ernie?
Yes.
Okay, the motion to table fails by a 6-2 vote. So we got the original motion to pay them to approve the contribution of $8,000. Do you want to add anything to the
We'd like to
original
amend it.
motion?
We already had a first and second on that one.
We'd like to amend it that if it's not held this year, that the money will be applied for next year.
I'll second that motion.
All right, so the motion on the table to give them the $8,000, and if it's not held this year, that will apply to next year. All right, that's the motion. Roll call, roll call.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Sorry,
Carries.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
The next motion was recommend the city council to approve the payment to John McDowell, Angelo's Pizza in the amount of $1,420.86 paid out of the Business Development District Fund. Make that form a motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
By Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. An ordinance, or excuse me, go ahead, Mr. Bud.
An ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of the business redevelopment agreement by the city, Taylorville and John McDowell, Angelo's Pizza. Make that form a motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Bryant. Roll call.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes, motion carries 9-0.
Next motion, recommend the city council approve payment to Phil Blyler in the amount of $5,000 to be paid out of the Business Development District Fund. Make that form a motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud,
Second.
second by Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim
Yes.
Olive? Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
And the next motion was an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of the business redevelopment agreement between the city, Taylorville, and Phil Blyler. Make that form a motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud,
Second.
second by Alderman Driscoll. Roll call.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes. Motion carries 9-0.
Okay, the next one was recommend city council to approve the payment to Nathan Shanks and Jeremy DeLucas in the amount of $8,934.35 payable from the Business Development District Fund. Make that form a motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud,
Second.
second by Alderman Driscoll. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
The next motion, recommend city county to allow finance chairman to pull all bills that include sales tax prices.
You missed the ordinance.
The ordinance, okay. An ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of the business redevelopment agreement between the city of Taylorville and Nathan Shanks. Make that for a motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second. Alderman Skoltedi. Roll call.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes, motion carries 9-0.
Okay, then the next one is recommend the city council allow finance chairman Bud to pull all bills that include sales tax prior to the city council approving payments dated August 20th or later. Make that form a motion. And
Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Bertle. Questions or comments?
Comment is, the reason that I'm questioning this is, and I don't seem to want to be picking on you guys, okay? But a lot of times, the police department is buying a lot of items online, and we're paying sales tax, and the city is really not supposed to be paying sales tax. I found a bill today, which I will let everybody know about in tonight's bill, about paying the sales tax. I've been watching for those, and I've caught some. And I'm wanting to get, if you want me to pull that bill, that's fine. If you don't, and say, well, don't worry about it, then I won't worry about it.
Is there a way, I'm sorry, is the question, is there a way then if they're purchasing something online that they can put in the word tax exempt in the future?
Every site's different, we don't know cognizant of it now.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Kathy Driscoll. Yes. Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Brittle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yeah.
Motion carries 8-0.
The next motion was to recommend the city council direct the city clerk to prepare and recommend to the city council approve the salary ordinance for the mayor 2021-2025 term to set at the base salary of $58,000 per year with an increase of $2,000 each year for over the 4-year period for a term, a total of 8%. Make that form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud.
Second.
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 Alderman Bryant, questions or comments? Roll call.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yeah.
Chris Teddy.
No.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Brittle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
No.
Motion carries 6-2.
An ordinance establishing the salary for the mayor of the city of Taylorville pursuant to section 1-9-3 of the city code. Make that form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud.
Second.
Second by Alderman Bertle. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Jim Olive.
Yeah.
Chris Teddy.
No.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Brittle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
No.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
The next motion.
Motion carries 6-2.
Next motion was to recommend the city council direct the city clerk to prepare and recommend to the city council to approve the salary ordinance for the city clerk for the 2021 to 2025 term, set base salary of $55,000 per year with an increase of $2,000 per year over the next 4 years for a total of 8%. Make that form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud. Second by Alderman Bertle. Questions or comments?
It should have been with an increase of 2%, not 2,000.
It's 2%, an increase 2% over 4 years.
Your motion.
Roll call.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Brittle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
No.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-1.
Okay, the next motion will recommend the city council to direct the city clerk to prepare and recommend to the city council to approve the salary ordinance for the city treasurer for 2021 to 2025 term to set base salary at $50,000 per year with an increase of 2% per year over the 4-year term with a total of $8,000. Make that form of motion with a comment.
Total of 8%.
Total of 8%, 2% per year.
Comment, or motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Bertle.
also.
Comment, Alderman Bud.
My comment would be this: I know that if you're a certified treasurer, you get a 3%. Same with the clerk, if you're certified. Does the 2% apply to the $3,000 that you get as a certification, or does it go off of the base salary?
I think you mixed up your percent and 1,000. If they're certified, they get a $3,000 stipend, correct? Clerk and the
If
treasurer.
you, yes, if you have
If you
your
have the
certification
certification, you
and
get
base
$3,000.
salary.
And does the 2% apply to that?
Should it?
Personally, no.
Well, we voted to do the city clerk and we didn't include the stipend in it.
Because she doesn't have a stipend, she
Yeah.
hasn't the
Clerk has
certification.
a $3,000.
I don't have my certification.
Pardon?
I do not have my
No,
certification.
but the next person in might.
You're not raising her salary.
But the new clerk may have.
It takes 3 years to get it, so they would have to go through a 3-year program to get it.
Okay.
I'm just throwing the question out there because it was asked to me.
Right.
Well, I think the $3,000 is set by statute. And that might be a question for our city attorney. That they reach
If you
a
look at
certain
paragraph-
certification and get $3,000 stipend. So I
Look-
don't know if the city has a chance to raise that stipend or not.
The proposed ordinance says that that certification is worth $3,000 per fiscal year. It goes on to say that that additional compensation, that the amount set forth above shall be increased by $3,000 per fiscal year. So as I read that, the salary for each of the years, 21, 22, 23, 24, if the stipend applies, gets added to that base salary. So the 2% would go on to that 3%. Excuse me, 3,000.
Okay.
That's the way it's worded. And that's the way it was worded back in 16 when I drew it up.
Okay, well, the question was asked to me, I said I would ask it tonight.
Yeah, if you just look on page 3, there's a typo there. It should be F instead of B, but it says the event the city treasurer has received or maintained a certification as a certified municipal treasurer, the amount set forth above shall be increased by $3,000 per fiscal year. Those amounts set forth above is the salaries for each of the 4 years. So I would read that to say that you add the 2% of that
Okay,
3,000.
that's clarification.
That's how, you don't have to do that, but that's how that ordinance is written.
Okay.
So what would your motion like to say, Mr. Buck?
That she gets the 2%, including the 3,000.
Well, it's already in the ordinance, I mean,
That's
it's.
by
That's
the
the
ordinance.
motion on the table, is there a second? Alderman Bertle, seconded with the 2% raise applying to the
Well, it sounds like it's
3,000.
applied to her.
It's already in there.
It's already in the ordinance.
Roll call.
No, I got a comment.
Comment?
Yes, I have a
Alderman
comment.
Gunn?
I'm making this in regard to the motion of the treasurer's proposed salary of $50,000 for 2021 and 2025. The term, I would like to have this motion made. And be
There's a
amended.
motion on the floor already.
But also for this, in response to this motion here, that's what I'm talking about, this
Well, there's a
motion.
motion already, you can't make a motion until this is voted.
Oh, okay. But I do want to make another comment.
This is for the clerk, not the
This is
treasurer.
This is for the treasurer.
This is the treasurer.
Also, this is on the clerk now.
No, the first we already got, we already voted that 7-1, according to my vote. So the motion now is the salary for the treasurer is $50,000 plus the $3,000 stipend plus a 2% increase over the 4-year term for a total of 8%.
No, you can't
Roll
do
call.
that. No, you
No,
can't put Mr. Mayor
I think-
stipend in
I
there
think you just
because
read the
this is
motion
next-
as it
Next
is.
elected official.
And then your next motion would be to adopt this ordinance. That ordinance applies to the next city treasurer,
Right.
whomever that might be, and whether or not that particular city treasurer has received or maintained this certification.
Okay, so then
There's a contingency.
Do I have a comment to make that on that motion then?
You could, well, in the
I mean,
discussion, you
we're
can
not
make a
talking about
comment, but you can't make a
stipend,
motion.
We're talking about something else. We're talking about this motion for her salary to be $50,000, for 2021 to 2025.
Right, that's the
That's
motion.
what I want to make a comment on. Excuse me for interrupting you. In regard to the motion of this treasurer's proposed salary of $50,000 for the 2021 and 2025 term, I would like to have this motion be amended, proposing that her salary be readjusted to $55,000 for 4-year term, and also with the increase of 2% per year for the 4-year term. Gentlemen, I would like to make this in the form of a motion and ask for a second.
Well, right now, there's a motion already on the floor that we need to vote on. And then if that would fail, then I would entertain other motions. So, right now, the motion on the floor is to have the salary at $50,000 with an increase of 2% per year over the 4-year term for a total of 8%. Is that your motion, Mr. Budd?
That is my motion.
And a second by Alderman Bryan, correct? Bertle, okay. Roll call on that motion.
Any comment?
please. Pardon? Comment? Jackie?
So that's a reduction from what I currently make, okay? I know I showed you guys my list of duties, 2 pages of listed duties. Basically, that night, I just got looked at, put on the table. Nobody read through everything I do.
This is for the next person.
I know, what if I run?
Okay, well, but they may not do the same job duties.
Why wouldn't they? to reconcile 35 accounts monthly. There's steps involved with printing statements, posting revenue, expenses, interest, health reimbursement, and step reconciliation process. They verify arrow payments, verify the IMRF, verify Ameren, calculates IMRF payroll totals, and report to HR monthly. Write up deposit tickets for clerk's office receipts that have, that are not posted with the clerk. I write up deposit tickets for other miscellaneous deposits that would come through. Enter in the check register in our daily receipt book. I enter council bills in the check register and file reports, complete council transfers, bill transfers, bank to bank, enter in daily cash book to post. Confirm and print sales tax, non-home rule, use income, MFT, cannabis, BDD, video gaming, and enter in the check register and then to post. And complete non-home rule transfers to bond accounts, telecom transfers to bond accounts, enter that in my check register, and I post. I do the police pension, fire pension, perpetual care, and investment posting. I do the 2% utility transfer or report to Marty. Lake restoration transfers yearly, bond and loan payments that are now done by ACH. W-2s, process those yearly, report the Social Security online yearly. Then there's miscellaneous payouts you have for retirees. I do any alderman requests, superintendent requests, retro requests, bond calls, all these sales tax reimbursement, tax levy process, budget process. I go to the fire and police meetings, I do finance reports monthly, any year-end processes, reports to run, budgets to install, etc., and figure the retiree payouts. I also acquired these within the last 2 years, adjusting cash entries. I do the Illinois State W-2 disagreement yearly, HRA journal entries, Department of Justice e-share now, BDD reimbursement request to TIP Illinois, the BOPS form for GATA. I'm entering vacation and sick bank to employees who earn at their anniversary dates. And then I do the general to the BDD for transfers. Duties that were deputy duties, AFLAC claim form, AFLAC renewal, medical insurance changes. I put those on from the spreadsheet I get from HR, and I put those on the employees at the time in July. Life insurance claim form, medical insurance reimbursement, monthly leave reports. I print the police and fire pension reports, and I have to enter those into an Excel spreadsheet for the auditors. Every payroll, I mail, copy, and process all deduction checks, 17 of them. I do the police pension monthly pension checks, fire pension monthly checks are coming back to the city. I will be doing those. I pay police pension miscellaneous bills. I do the police pension 1099s yearly, the police pension 1096 yearly. I print out the timesheets. I do all the payroll and processes after each payroll, taxes, deduction checks bi-weekly. And as needed, enter new employees. I enter changes in the system, rates, insurance changes in the system. I file the federal and state quarterly, UR reports monthly and quarterly, Social Security yearly, there's band payroll I do. Employee accruals, I do those at the beginning of the year. Library journal entry and reconcile banks for the library. Annual firearm bonus pay, retro pays, safety award pays, and retired payouts. And now there's the Illinois mutual claim form that I pay monthly, so that's what I do for redemption.
Any other comments or questions? Alderman Dorsonet?
Well, this has always been a tough thing for me, all the years I've been on the council, because the aldermen are up for increases too. Their salary are reviewed 180 days prior to the next election. And so it's always an uncomfortable thing for somebody to sit in this position and say, I deserve a raise. okay? Some, and maybe some do, maybe some don't. But if the majority says you do, then you get what you got, okay? You got the new people coming in, but for the past, I don't know how many years, I've been on the council for, if I make it till November, it'll be 25 years, okay? And you know, I've seen people come and be aldermen that are interested in doing the job. Some because that what they thought the job was going to be is what it is. Other aldermen have been on here that they don't sooner get on, elected, and they knew they made a mistake and have gotten off. A lot of them have served their terms. I know recently we had an alderman that had observed firsthand what goes on at all the meetings, how many meetings they have to attend, and all of the conflict that they have to face on a daily basis as superintendents. And even though that person knew what the job entailed as an alderman, he couldn't make it. He got elected and couldn't make it through the 4 years. It's a tough decision that to try to anticipate who's going to be the next whatever elected official. And I know that in the past I experienced a time when a mayor that was elected in the top salary that at that time the highest paid mayor since I've been on the council was $70,000 a year. And several of us thought that was too much money. But that mayor didn't think it was too much money, and he had the votes to cause that to happen. An alderman then at that time ran against him and got, instead of the mayor that wanted it to be 70, he didn't get elected, didn't get reelected. We got a new mayor, an alderman became a mayor, and after that 4-year term, the salary dropped off again. So, you know, those salaries have been based upon performance, okay? And that's very difficult to do because you don't know who's going to be elected or reelected. And so I think that and I've given this a lot of thought today, and I thought about it before, but today especially because I knew it was coming up tonight, is that, you know, I think that this position as treasurer, there's enough responsibility there, period. Even though this treasurer had to give up a lot of responsibility and a lot of work that treasurer was responsible for because the duties were segregated. But I think that the position of treasurer deserves more than the $50,000. That's all I have to say.
Roll call. Sean?
And I'm the one that made the original motion at the finance committee to decrease the salary. And it really has nothing to do with who runs for office or who wins next term or as far as the treasurer position goes. The problem is, I feel like that the previous treasurer had duties that we no longer have in the treasurer's office. So, in this handful of duties, I can think off the top of my head, I didn't make a list, but you know, you had the whole water department going that the treasurer's office did before. And you also had management of those people in that office that not only did that, but did other things that was on her list tonight. So normally in the private sector, if your duties go down, you don't normally increase the salaries for doing less, unless you're at, you know, CEO position. They get more, less they do, the more they get paid. In most cases, that's not how it goes. The less duties you have, the less money you make. And I've heard everything from, we're not gonna get anybody to run for city treasurer, including Jackie. She might not run because we lowered her salary, or somebody else might not run. I've heard that money's not a good salary for the position. I've heard one thing after another, but nobody has said anything about the amount of duties that we did have in the office versus the amount of duties we have now, which are considerably Well, you're saying no, I'm just saying, from my eyes, that's what I see.
Make one more comment. Okay. And leaving personalities, people out of the equation, I think that the treasurer has at least as much responsibility or more than the city clerk. But yet, the city clerk has how many people?
Sorry.
3 people. And she gave up the water department. And I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to reward her, I'm just saying that I think that position of the clerk and the treasurer, I think that they're at least equal responsibility. That's my comment.
Roll call.
I got a question before we do this. Are we voting on this
We're
proposal?
voting on the motion, which is $50,000
Okay.
and a 2% raise.
Excluding what you just said.
Yeah, you need
That's what Sean
to. The
said.
motion wasn't changed.
Okay, all right.
That's the motion by Alderman Bud and second by
Okay.
Alderman Bryant, all right? So.
Ready?
Roll call.
Okay. Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
No.
Kathy Driscoll. No. Lee Landzadi.
No.
Jim Mullin.
Yes.
Chris Copetti.
No.
It's tied.
The mayor votes yes. Motion carries 5-4.
Okay, the next one was an
Now,
ordinance.
do I have the opportunity to make that comment? Because that's where I want to make my
You
comment.
can make any comment you want. The motion
I think I was railroaded on that one, sir, I really do.
What's
My
that?
presence on that, I asked that question, Ernie made the same statement. I think that she justified being raised in the position of the salary, and now you're telling me, you said to wait until we had to vote on this? I voted on it, I don't agree with it, let's go on.
The motion carried.
I heard that.
Do you wanna, I don't think we're gonna make another motion now.
We're all right. It's okay.
The next thing is the ordinance.
Pardon?
The next vote is the ordinance that follows the motion. That's how the ordinance
This
is
just
shaped.
got railroaded on me. That's my comment.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay. An ordinance establishing the salaries for the city clerk and city treasurer pursuant to section 1-9-3 of the Taylorville City Code. Make that form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments on the ordinance?
Can I make that comment now?
You can make any comment you like.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. The comment that I wanted to make was her proposed salary of $50,000. It may not be her, it could be her incumbent for 20 and 21. However, that position does, like Ernie says, requires a lot. She just read all the things that she does. And gentlemen, I think we need to readjust her salary in that salary bracket for 20 to 21 to 2025 with a 2% increase. And I think we need to adjust that to that $55,000 pay bracket. And that's what I want to make that comment.
Okay.
I would like to make that in the form of a motion to redo that ordinance and say that this is what she should receive. Am I right, Rocky?
Procedurally, no. All you could do is motion to table that ordinance.
And then I asked the table.
And have a take precedence.
Table
vote on
the
whether
ordinance.
to table it.
You're making a motion to table the
Table
ordinance.
that ordinance so it goes back to committee.
Okay, got a motion
Here's the
on the
problem,
floor.
you've got 180 days before the election.
You gotta vote on it.
Motion on the floor to table it. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second, to table it, okay. Motion on the floor to table the ordinance.
Just
Roll
understand
call.
that, let me just make a legal comment here. The motion is to table the combined ordinance, which includes the city clerk. If you table it and you don't make the 180-day rule, then you cannot make an ordinance of any kind.
So would that come up at our next finance meeting?
No, you're past we only have 180 days. So if you table it and we take it back to ordinance and we get to 160 out, then neither the treasurer nor the clerk get our pay raise, because we went past. So it's,
There's that strict 180-day rule.
You can still have October though.
We could amend the motion though, to the ordinance. We can amend the motion.
Well, right now you got a motion to table.
Wait a minute, we shouldn't be having this discussion.
Right.
Motion to table is on, roll call on the table the motion.
Sure. Larry Bud?
No.
Sean Burdell?
No.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
No.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
No.
Crystal Teddy?
No.
Megan Bryant?
No.
Motion to table fails 6-2. So it goes back to the original motion of the ordinance establishing the salaries of the city clerk and city treasurer pursuant to section 1-9-3 of the Taylorville City Code. And that motion was made by Alderman Bud and seconded by Alderman Bergwijn. Roll call.
Sean Burdell?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
No.
Kathy Driscoll?
No.
Lee Landzadi?
No.
Jim Olive?
Yeah.
Crystal Teddy?
This is working by, yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Mayor Mary votes yes, motion carries 6-3.
Okay, are we ready for the next one?
So.
The next motion, recommend the city council direct the city clerk to prepare and recommend to the city council to approve the salary ordinance for aldermen for the 2021-2025 term, which be set at $600 per month. Make that form a motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second. Second by Alderman Bertle.
Let me ask a question.
Questions or comments?
I have a question.
Okay.
I will be voting against this. I feel we must keep the salary as it is currently. So if this fails, does that mean you stay at the current salary?
Yes.
Which is $578, correct?
579.23.
$579, so, okay.
And before you go further, just whether I did this right or wrong here, right, when I was talking to city clerk, is that if you look at the next ordinance, to make it simple, that raise would be $600 for all aldermen who were elected in 2021.
Correct.
And for the 4 aldermen that are elected in 2023. So you kept up on parity, that's what that ordinance is.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, roll call.
Ernie Dorchenez?
No.
Kathy Driscoll?
No.
Lee Landzadi?
No.
Jim Olive?
No.
Crystal Teddy?
No.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
No.
Sean Burdell?
Abstain.
Motion fails. Motion fails 1-6.
Okay. This is an ordinance establishing the salaries for the aldermen of the city of Taylorville pursuant to section 1-9-3 of the city of Taylorville Code. Make that form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud,
Second.
second by Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments?
What does this even do now?
Nothing.
Well, now we're gonna just keep the salaries the same. Do we need a
It's
new
just-
Do we need a new ordinance, or we just keep the one we already have?
No, if you deny this ordinance, then it's gonna stay the same.
Okay.
All right. So, roll call.
Kathy Driscoll?
Wait, I'm gonna say the same. If I deny the ordinance,
We stayed the same
Then you
page.
stay
Then
at
there is no
five.
increase.
so I just say no is denying it then, under my vote.
If you're against a raise, you
Okay.
vote no.
Okay, no.
Lee Landzadi?
No.
Jim Olive?
No.
Crystal Teddy?
No.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
No.
Sean Burdell?
Abstain.
Ernie Dorchenez?
No.
Motion fails 1-6. Motion recommended.
The last one.
You're still
All
on
right.
it, Matt.
The last motion was to recommend the city council accept the treasurer's report as presented. Make that form of motion.
I'll second that.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Driscoll. Comments or, I guess we need to vote on first roll call. Or comments. Alderman
No.
Bud, you wanna read all the treasurer's report?
When it was presented for everybody, I don't normally read it.
Roll call.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Burdell?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez? Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
My turn.
Ordinance, Alderman Bryant.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing to come out of ordinance was a motion to recommend to the city council to forward the revision of the city to the city attorney for modification of the proposed ordinance to include erosion fence and also to include a 2x10 plank as an option for a wood fence.
I'm
Would that form a
assuming-
vote motion?
Motion, Alderman Bryant.
It's a modification to the fence ordinance.
Okay, I drafted one for you guys, so just accepting my draft with these two modifications.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Motion, Alderman Bryant, second. Alderman Driscoll. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Chris Popetti?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Burdell?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Public facilities, Alderman Skoltedi.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I proceed, you guys should have received tonight another bid sheet that we got for replacing the pocket coating floor. Substantially cheaper than the one, so I'm looking to see if I can get Alderman Driscoll and Dorchenez to change their, to allow the amendment to their motion to allow, instead of TSR concrete coatings in the amount of $7,548, it'll read to accept a quote from Nick Bodine in the amount of $4,900 to resurface the basement floor from the bottom of the staircase up to the double doors, including both bathrooms, etc.
I will amend.
Can I ask a question before we amend that? This has a 1-year warranty, the last one had a 5-year warranty?
Motion by Alderman Skoltedi. The amended motion of 4,900 by Nick Bodine. Do I have a second on that motion?
And I amended, yes.
Okay,
I will amend that.
Alderman Driscoll seconds it. Questions or comments? Alderman Bryant? Okay, anyone? Alderman Olive?
That, and Chris already know that, I'm not in favor of the epoxy floor, although I have thought if it was epoxied in the restrooms only would be nice. I just kind of, I like the fact of the tile continuing all through the building and keeping the same decor. Because we are a public, facility, the public comes in here and they do have a lot of meetings downstairs and everything, and I just think it would look better to go with the whole decor of the building. Epoxy floors are a good, matter of fact, this gentleman, I've seen his work over at the firehouse in, Mount Zion. Nice, very nice. But it's just in a different location than inside of a public facility, the city hall building. And that's my only objection to it.
All right, Alderman Dorchenez?
I think the public would be more pleased with the epoxy that he's gonna do. That's my comment.
All right. Roll call.
Chris Popetti?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Since it's less than the tile floor, yes.
Sean Burdell?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
No.
Motion carries 7-1.
Oh, and, excuse me, motion, the next thing come out of public, so there's a motion to recommend the city council to allow the street and sewer office to be moved from the Gagan building after necessary repairs are made to be paid out of the street and sewer budget. Make that form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Skoltedi, second.
Second.
Alderman Dorchenez. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
What?
Street and sewer, Alderman Olive.
Thank you. Okay, first motion, recommend the city council to direct the city attorney to prepare an ordinance to amend the city code to install a flow children at play sign in the 800 block of West Main Cross. And I think that should, read an ordinance to amend the city code and install, I think it's 2, one on each side of the street, was it not? When I come out of the committee?
I think it was 2.
Yeah, that needs to be, I'd put that in form of motion with that
Motion by Alderman
change.
Olive,
Second?
second by Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next motion to recommend the city council to allow flowers be planted at the entrance of Kenton Addition and to have the city remove 2 stumps, spray for weeds, and purchase the engraved rock to be paid for by Ward 2 at the cost of not to exceed $844.59. Put that in form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Olive, second by Alderman Driscoll. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Megan Bryant,
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll. Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Petty.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Next motion come out of committee was to recommend to the city council to forward to the ordinance committee for approval for a four-way stop sign at Oak and Snodgrass and Ash and Snodgrass. Also like put that in form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Olive,
Second?
second by Alderman Bud. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next motion, to recommend to the city council to approve the request and issue a special event permission. Special event, permit, thank you. To the Chamber of Commerce Chili Fest for Saturday, October 3rd, 2020, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 4th, 2020, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. with permission to set up, close streets and place barricades on the square beginning at noon on Friday and close the whole square at 6 p.m. Sunday for cleanup. Also put that in the form of a motion with a comment.
Motion by Alderman Olive, second by Alderman Driscoll. Questions or comments? Comment, Alderman Olive.
Has everybody received a letter tonight from Preddy? And just as our earlier comments about the Chili Fest itself, she is requesting to expand the boundaries, of which we don't know how far they're gonna have to expand them to, just for the sake of more social distancing. So she is looking at that aspect of it. The mayor mentioned earlier too that somebody received a phone call. I received a phone call because wanting to know why I had agreed to their special request. My comment to the caller was that the special request is more for a safety issue than it is giving permission for them to have the Chili Fest, because all we do is block off the streets through traffic. So it wasn't. We don't make them motions to give permission to do something. We do it strictly as a safety precaution, so no one gets hurt during whatever is going on in the square or any other location within the city. So that's my comment.
Any other comments? I just have a comment. If we are going to expand the area, I would hope that we don't expand the area until that next morning on Saturday morning, because there is quite a few businesses that want the traffic, half a block off the square and things like that. So if I'll work with the street department, we can reset the traffic guards.
Actually, looking at the map, it's really not, it's not much farther than what we've blocked off previous years. Because they had the horse rides down. Okay. So I don't think it's gonna be that much different, but you can talk to Patty and Mike.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next motion, to recommend the city council to renew the service contracts for all generators with all topper for the amount of $5,693. Put that in form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Olive, second. Alderman Skoltedi. Roll call.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Petty.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Okay, next motion is to recommend to the city council to approve hiring Benton and Associates to provide engineering services for alley improvements for the alleys between North Washington and North Main and the market at a cost of not to exceed $28,800 per written agreement. Put that in the form of a motion with a comment.
Motion by Alderman Olive, second by Alderman Bud, comment Alderman Olive.
Just to clarify, that is, the one alley is behind Angelo's Express and, what else, Lauren, the convenience store and, what's the other piece, the Domino's, yeah. And the other one is, behind, Florenda's and everything in that alley. And they don't have, the engineering was needed because neither one of them has very good, water flow. The day that we were looking at it, it was, the water is ponds all over the place. It'll take care of a new surface plus drainage issues.
Roll call.
This will be paid for out of BDD fund. That needs to be in the motion.
Yeah. Paid for out of BDD funds, included in the motion, correct?
Yes.
All right, roll call.
If it's in that special name, it's it.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll. Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Okay, recommend to the city council to reimburse Ward 3 for half of the sidewalk repairs in the eastern block of West Ridge out of the tornado relief grant. That in form of motion?
Motion by Alderman Olive,
Second.
second by Alderman Bryant.
Comment.
Questions or comments?
Not
Alderman
that I
Bertle?
oppose this, is that something we can spend out of that relief grant? Might as well.
Well, the way I understand it, that 500,000 went to our general fund.
So we spend on anything?
We have spent it on some tree work in that area. So,
I didn't know if there were restrictions on the grant.
no, we've already, it was put in the budget, so it really wasn't what I would consider a grant or there's any stipulations. We just received a check for $500,000. Now, when we applied for it, we had to list different things that we'd spent money on, which included salaries and other stuff like that. So a lot of this money we've already spent, so this is just replenishing our general fund for money that we've already spent. The way I understand, is that correct, Jackie?
Correct.
So. All right, roll call.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Okay, the next motion to come out was to recommend to the city council to allow Superintendent Mann to have Vendor Engineering replace a control panel on the prison lift station at a cost not to exceed, and $26,041.45.
And to waive any statutory bidding requirements at this over $25,000.
That was written there too,
I saw
in
that.
small print.
All right. Motion by Alderman Olive, second.
Second.
Alderman Skoltedi, questions or comments? Roll call.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yep.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Okay, the last motion to come out of committee was to recommend to the city council to allow Superintendent Mann to have mobile mini tank and pump solutions provide a bypass pump at Pershing Lift Station while repairs are being made at a cost to not to exceed $1,296.15. Put that in form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Olive, second.
Second.
Alderman Driscoll, comment? Roll call.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Personnel Committee, Alderman Landzadi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion to recommend to the city council to hire one part-time dispatcher position in the police department. I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Landzadi, second by Alderman Olive. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to recommend to the city council to bid and/or advertise one full-time dispatcher position in the police department. I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Alderman Gonzalez, second by Alderman Olive. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Emergency Services, Alderman Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First motion to come out of our committee was the motion to recommend to the city council to allow Fire Chief Aderman to complete the annual SCBA maintenance, including maintenance, repairs, and fill station at a cost not to exceed $5,700. I'd like to make that in form of a motion.
Motion by Alderman Driscoll, second.
Second.
Alderman Skoltedi. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Chris Teddy?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Burdell?
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Okay, and our second final motion to come out of our committee is the motion to recommend to the city council to allow the police chief Wheeler to enter into a 5-year agreement with Christian County for the new CAD system. And I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Alderman Driscoll,
Second.
second. Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments?
Oh, I have a comment. Typically, the mayor would be the one that would sign such. I have not seen that agreement. Does it call for a police chief to sign it? I would think that the mayor would be the one that would sign the agreement that would bind the city, not the police chief.
Let's see, Mickey Earhart from the county was the one that presented it to us, and so who signed it, and who's doing it through the county? Is it the sheriff?
Yes.
So, okay, so then should it be there?
Most agreements the mayor does sign, I believe, right?
Yeah, I just haven't
So we
seen
can
the
modify
agreement, so I
that?
don't know.
Okay, we'll modify that then to, the motion would be then to recommend to the city council to allow the mayor to enter into a 5-year agreement with Christian County for the new CAD system.
All right. Amended the motion by Alderman Driscoll, second. Alderman Bryant. Roll call.
Chris Teddy? Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Burdell?
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion to approve and/or ratify payments of bills, $445,488.61. Motion by Alderman Bud, second. Alderman Driscoll, comment. Alderman Bud.
The bills actually will total $445,438.91. There was a tax of $57.70 from A to Z Radiator, and we're going to take that off of the bill to pay that bill. That's a company that we've used in the past, and apparently they didn't have the new number, so they're going to take care of that for that. Okay, insurance, $10,791.10, electric, $30,782.51, telephone, $1,122.38, garbage, $2,120, Illinois Public Risk for workers' comp for September and October, $44,928, Chubb Commercial, 104, $27,063.50, Quill for office supplies, $1,306.25, Big R, Ace, Runs, and Walmart, $2,623.69. Computer Tech, $1,361.50. Bob Writings, $1,985.99. Toys Fire Equipment for fire extinguishers for all of the departments, $1,701.80. IMCO, $1,174.13. Midwest Meter, $2,248.28. Sloan's Equipment, $5,178.83. Illinois Director of Employment for unemployment, $4,647. DowntownTaylor.org for April, May, and June, $3,727.48. Christian County Treasurer for real estate tax and demos, $3,412.08. City of Pana, $2,365.84. Meyer, Oster, Romano, $6,860. BDD, Petersburg Plumbing and Heating for the Poplar Street sewer problem, $81,156.75. Police and Fire for uniforms, $1,088.32. Street Department, Bluebell Garage, $1,718.40. Mugabug, $1,813. Sewer Department, Intler Excavating, Valentine Project, $117,301.50. Banavetter Engineering, $4,846.29. Greg Anderson, half of sewer, $1,597. Water Department Chemicals, $28,279.35. Hydrokinetics, $5,647.75. Granger, $1,458.05. Airport, Crawford, Murphy, and Tilly, this is the final payment on the asphalt overlay, $16,150.16. And Filtration Corp of America, $1,332.51. These total to $417,789.44.
Roll call.
Megan Bryan.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. First subparagraph G of 5 ILCS 120/2.06. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for any person who wishes to address the council on any relevant subject matters concerning the city. The Illinois Open Meeting Act 5 ILCS 120/1 mandates no action shall be taken on subject matters not listed on the agenda, but the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the subject matter to a future council and/or committee meeting. If anyone wishes to address the council, please provide your name and address, limit your comments or presentation to 3 minutes, and avoid repetitious comment. Anyone else would like to speak to the council? Seeing none, thank you. Motion to go into closed session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2 C1 and C3 to discuss the performance of the city treasurer in any and all subject matters relating to said subject matter and to include, if present, the following persons to be present during all or part of such closed session, namely the mayor, alderman, city attorney, city clerk, city treasurer, human resource manager, and such other persons the mayor decides and announce during the city council meeting and or any of the aforesaid subject matters discussed in open or closed session. So, the motion to go into closed session. Have a motion? By Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Bryant. Roll call.
Megan Bryan.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll. Yes. Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Motion carries 8-0.
We go recess for a moment.
Recess for a moment.